One pan, big flavor, and barely any cleanup. This Greek style chicken bowl is packed with flavor and it couldn't be any easier to make. Just marinate, roast, dribble with the sauce, and it's done. Meal prep really doesn't get much easier than this. Let's go. All right, before we get prepping the ingredients, let's start by getting 300 grams of white rice on and also preheating the oven. So grab the scale, 300 grams white rice. So you can cook this white rice in a rice cooker or you can cook it over the stove. I'm gonna cook it in a rice cooker, but before we start, we'll give it a quick rinse. So the reason we actually wash our rice is to remove some excess starch that will be on the outside. So we'll give it 2 or 3 rinses till the water runs fairly clear. You can just pour it out the side, give it a bit of a mix around. And once it runs relatively clear, I'll whack it straight in the rice cooker and then we'll leave that to cook. I'm just gonna whack a little bit of water in here. A nice general rule of thumb, that first knuckle should be a perfect amount of water. From there, we'll whack it straight in our rice cooker. Turn that on, white rice, and leave that ready to go. Sweet, now let's get on to the prep. So we'll start with 2 large red capsicums. So the easiest way to get the stem out of these is just literally put your finger in the side there. We're gonna pull the stem straight out like that. Do the same to the other one. And you're literally not gonna waste any of the capsicum whatsoever. Now I've got the core out of them, the stem, most of the stems out of them. We're gonna cut them in half. And then we're going to cut them into about 2 by 2 centimeter cubes, inch by inch cubes for my American friends out there. Cool, we'll cut the other half. Boom. Good. Literally just flatten it out a bit with your hand and then we'll go roughly 2 by 2 centimeters. Doesn't matter too much. Cool, we'll flip all those around. We will cut cube. Don't worry too much if they're not the same size, as long as they're roughly the same size. Cool, we're gonna grab our tray, which we'll put in the oven later. We're gonna whack that straight in. Capsicum's done. Onto our red onions. So we're gonna do 3 small red onions. If you've got 2 medium-sized red onions, that's fine as well. So we'll start off cutting in half. Gonna cut the stem and the root end off. Good, once they're all removed, let's clear the bench off. Good. Always keep a nice tidy bench. Gives you a bit of space to move. Cool. We'll peel these all one by one and then we're going to quarter them up. They should be relatively easy to peel since the stem end and the root end is off them. Cool. Once they're halved, peeled, time to cut them into quarters. So literally again in half, in quarters, and that's it. We'll separate them when we put them into the tray. Try to keep them on the bench. Key to success, nice sharp knife. It will make your life a lot easier. Cool, onions are cut in the tray with the capsicum. So, want to make sure we try to separate these pieces of onion when we put them in the tray. So whack them in, give it all a mix around, and a bit of seasoning later as well. Good, throw these bits in as well. Apart. Good, we'll mix that up. We'll leave that, put it to the side. Veg prep's done. Now time onto the chicken. So we've got 800 grams of chicken thighs here. Gonna start off by taking any sort of excess fat, removing that. We don't want too much fat on our chicken thighs. You can save this fat, put it in a bag, put it in the freezer, and you can make a stock with it. You're gonna have a bit of excess flesh as well. So put that to the side. And then once it's all nice and trimmed up, put that one to the side as well. So I'm gonna use our knife just running through it to get these fat parts off of it. Done. You don't have to remove all the parts, just try to get as much as you can. Once the chicken thighs are all trimmed up, we're gonna cut them into cubes as well. Similar size to the veg, so we're about 2 by 2 centimeters or an inch. Want to try to make these as similar a size as possible, just so they cook evenly. Once our chicken's cooked, we'll place it all in a bowl. And then we'll get onto some marinade. So we're gonna start with about 5 to 10 milliliters of olive oil, teaspoon of thyme, teaspoon of oregano, teaspoon of garlic powder, teaspoon of onion powder, 20 milliliters of lemon juice, and about a teaspoon of salt as well. Gonna mix all this together, make sure it's covering all the chicken. We'll leave that aside to marinate for about 5 to 10 minutes while we prep everything else. We're also gonna give our vegetables a little bit of a marinade as well. So we're gonna go another 5 to 10 milliliters of olive oil and another teaspoon of oregano. Lastly, another teaspoon of salt, and then we'll mix all that together. Once it's all mixed, we can set that aside with the chicken as well. So while that chicken marinates for about 5 to 10 minutes, we'll start prepping our sauce, our tzatziki sauce for the top of our meal prep. We'll grab a small bowl. We're gonna add 100 grams of low-fat yogurt. Make that 130. Teaspoon of dill. Got 5 milliliters white wine vinegar. You can use just white vinegar if that's all you have, that's fine. You could even use lemon juice. Tastes a bit different, but it'll give the same effect. About half a teaspoon of cracked pepper and half a teaspoon of salt. We'll put that aside, and we've got one more ingredient to add. We've got some Lebanese cucumber, which we're gonna grate up. We'll grab our plate, we'll grab our grater, and we're gonna go straight in with a Lebanese cucumber. Don't need to peel it, that's fine. I'm gonna add a touch of salt to this so the water comes out of the cucumber and it doesn't make our tzatziki all runny. Mix it around a bit, get the salt going. We'll leave it for about 90 seconds and you'll see there'll be heaps of water left around. We'll squeeze it out and then we'll add it into our tzatziki. Cool, it's been about 90 seconds. So let's gather that into our hand. If you have some cheesecloth, that'll work as well. But I know most people won't have cheesecloth. So let's gather that in, gather into a ball, and you can see how much liquid's gonna come out of that. You can have the tzatziki without cucumber, but it definitely makes it that bit more authentic and tastes a lot better as well. So once we've rinsed that out, let's put this plate aside. We're gonna grab our tzatziki back on, cucumber in the middle, mix everything together. Once everything's thoroughly mixed together, we'll put that aside. Now it's time to get our chicken and veg on. Put our chicken on top of our vegetables, evenly distribute it. We're looking at 10 to 15 minutes in the oven and we'll flip once halfway through. Place it all evenly on top, make sure it's not too crowded. Put this in the oven, we'll check it in 10 minutes, give the chicken a bit of a flip, and it'll be done not long after that. We're 8 minutes in, we'll give the chicken a bit of a flip, mix up the vegetables a bit as well, and then we'll put it back in for about another 8 minutes. "20 minutes in total, and that's the meat and the veg cooked for the meal prep. Put this to the side and we'll grab our glass containers and then we'll serve everything out. Now that every component is cooked, we'll dish it all out evenly into 5 containers, ready for the rest of the week. First, we'll grab our rice, which will just evenly distribute across the 5 containers. It doesn't really matter if one has a little bit more than the other. You're gonna eat all the meals throughout the week, so the calories will all add up to the same amount. If you don't want to have rice, alternatively you can have some Greek style pittas with this. They're literally the exact same amount of calories, so if you prefer to have a pitta with this, you can, or if you prefer to have no carb at all, just add a bit of extra chicken and a little bit of extra veg as well. Once that's all distributed, we'll move on to our veg and chicken. Exact same thing again. Just make sure we try to divide it all equally over the 5 containers, but it doesn't matter too much if you get a bit more in one. Once that's done, we'll grab our tzatziki and we'll evenly distribute that across all 5 as well. Final little topping we'll add on top is a little bit of crumbled feta. So about 3 grams per serving. We'll just crumble it on top. And that's the 5 meals prep for the week. Lots of veg in this one. High protein, 35 grams of protein, just under 500 calories per serve. Lasts you the whole week. Like I said, great with rice, great with pitta. Even without rice, it's absolutely fine. I'm gonna eat one of these now and we'll give it a taste. Yeah, tzatziki's super creamy. Obviously that feta adds a bit as well. But yeah, great pre-meal prep, get it in your rotation. Super quick to cook, I think it took about half an hour all up. If you don't cook the rice, probably take about 20 minutes. The full recipe and macros will be in the description of this video for this meal prep. If you want to get and cook it, let me know how it is. As always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.